When an animal gets trapped in ice, it's like nature hit the pause button. Their bodies can last for thousands of years, giving us a clear window into a world long gone. We've uncovered prehistoric mammoths, woolly rhinos, and even ancient humans, so perfectly preserved that they look like they just took a really long nap in a freezer. But every now and then, something even weirder emerges from the ice. Creatures that challenge what we think we know about biology. Whatever ends up frozen in time, one thing's for sure. Each discovery adds another piece to the puzzle of Earth's past. Here are 15 of the strangest creatures ever found frozen in ice. Number 15. The cave lion cubs. In 2017, deep in eastern Siberia, scientists unearthed something extraordinary, a perfectly preserved cave lion cub encased in permafrost. This wasn't just a skeleton or some scattered bones. This was Sparta, a prehistoric cub so well preserved that her fur, skin, organs, and even whiskers were still intact. Sparta likely met her end suddenly, possibly in a mudslide, which buried and froze her before decomposition could begin. At over 28,000 years old, she's one of the best preserved Ice Age animals ever found, giving scientists an unprecedented look at what these long-extinct lions were like. Cave lions were massive predators, larger than today's big cats, and roamed the icy plains of Eurasia. Finding Sparta was like stepping into a time tool, a glimpse into a world where these powerful creatures still ruled the tundra. And with this level of preservation, could cloning bring them back? Well, some scientists think it's not impossible. Number 14. The Minnesota Iceman. It sounds like something straight out of a sideshow attraction, but this guy was once believed to be the missing link between humans and Neanderthals. Described as a hairy, human-like ape, its frozen body was displayed across America in the 1960s and 70s, sparking big debates about its authenticity. Two cryptozoologists, Bernard Hovelmans and Ivan Sanderson, inspected the body in 1968 and were convinced it was a real but unknown species. They even published a scientific paper naming it Homo pongoides, or ape-like man. But things got sketchy when the Iceman's owner, Frank Hansen, gave multiple conflicting stories about its origins, ranging from Vietnam to Siberia to Japan. Later examinations revealed the body was likely a latex model, but some believe the original was switched out to avoid legal trouble. Today, the Iceman is on display at the Museum of the Weird in Texas, but the mystery of its true origins remains unsolved. Number 13. Luba. Out of all the mummified mammoths ever found, Luba is the best preserved specimen in history. We mean, just look at that beauty. Discovered in Siberia in 2007, this cute baby mammoth died 42,000 years ago, yet still had her skin, hair, and even internal organs pretty intact. She was so well preserved that when first found, she looked as if she had only died days before. Luba's discovery was an archaeological jackpot. Her body provided a complete look at what mammoth babies were like in the Ice Age, revealing details about their diets, environment, and even their immune systems. But her cause of death was heartbreaking. Scientists believe she drowned after getting stuck in the mud, her lungs and a trunk filled with sediment. Thanks to modern science, Luba's DNA has been extracted and studied extensively. Some researchers even believe she could be cloned, meaning this little mammoth might one day walk the earth again. Number 12. The ancient bison. A 9,000-year-old steppe bison, so well preserved it still had its heart, brain, and blood vessels intact, was uncovered in northern Siberia in 2011. Unlike most Ice Age fossils, which are usually just bones, this was a fully mummified animal, offering scientists a rare, detailed look at an extinct species. Steppe bison, Bison priscus, were massive, powerful creatures that once roamed the frozen plains of North America, Europe, and Asia. This particular bison's organs had shrunk over time, but its overall structure remained nearly perfect. a level of preservation that is almost unheard of. But here's where it gets even crazier. In 2022, another steppe bison was found, this time 8,000 years old. Some scientists believe it's so intact that cloning might be possible, using extracted DNA from its muscles, skin, and wool. Could we one day see these prehistoric giants walking the earth again? Science may have the answer soon. Number 11. The prehistoric bear. In 2020, reindeer herders in Siberia stumbled upon something straight out of an Ice Age horror story: the mummified remains of a bear, perfectly preserved in permafrost. At first, scientists believed it was a cave bear, Ursus spelaeus, an ancient species that went extinct 22,000 years ago. But in 2022, DNA tests revealed something unexpected. This was actually a 3,460-year-old brown bear, Ursus arctos, which lived thousands of years later than originally thought. Unlike most ancient remains, which are just bones, this bear's skin, fur, nose, and internal organs were still intact, making it the only mummified brown bear ever discovered. This Ice Age predator was likely 2 to 3 years old when it died, possibly due to an accident or a sudden climate event. Its discovery has given scientists a rare opportunity to study how ancient bears lived, hunted, and evolved. Could this frozen giant reveal secrets about how animals survived the harsh Ice Age world? Number 10. Sasha. In 2015, a Siberian hunter made an incredible discovery: the mummified remains of a baby woolly rhino, nearly perfectly preserved in permafrost. Nicknamed Sasha, this tiny Ice Age giant is estimated to be over 34,000 years old, yet still has its skin, fur, and even some internal organs intact. Scientists were stunned. While adult woolly rhinos had been found before, a baby had never been discovered in such pristine condition. Sasha provided a rare glimpse into the early life of these prehistoric creatures, including details about their diet, behavior, and evolution. Even more fascinating, DNA extracted from Sasha has helped scientists understand how these Ice Age giants adapted to freezing temperatures and could even play a role in their future resurrection through cloning. The frozen baby rhino may never run again, but its preserved body is helping bring the species back to life in ways we never imagined. Number 9. The frozen foal. In 2018, scientists made one of the most astonishing Ice Age discoveries yet: a 30,000 to 40,000-year-old foal frozen beneath 330 feet of permafrost in Siberia. This wasn't just a fossilized skeleton. This was a fully preserved baby horse, complete with skin, hooves, tail, and even tiny hairs inside its nostrils. The foal, believed to be from the extinct Lenskaya horse species, was only 2 months old when it died. Its body was so well preserved that scientists were able to extract liquid blood from its veins, a breakthrough in Ice Age research. Now, some researchers believe this foal could one day be cloned, bringing its species back from extinction. With its perfectly preserved tissue and DNA, this discovery pushes the boundaries of what's possible in de-extinction science. What do you think about it? Is it beautiful? Well, for us, it is. Number 8. The prehistoric penguin colony. In 2016, scientists trekking through Cape Irizar, Antarctica, stumbled upon something that didn't make sense: a seemingly abandoned Adelie penguin colony. The ground was littered with penguin mummies, bones, and eggshells, as if the birds had just up and left. But here's the problem: Adelie penguins hadn't lived there for hundreds, maybe thousands of years. What was going on? Turns out, Antarctica's melting ice had just pulled back the curtain on a prehistoric graveyard, revealing birds that had been buried in ice for up to 5,000 years. Some penguins were so well preserved that their feathers and beaks were still intact, making it look like they'd only just perished. It's a chilling glimpse into the past, a reminder that climate shifts have been forcing species to adapt for millennia. And as the ice continues to melt, who knows what other long-lost creatures might resurface next. Number 7. The hibernating squirrel. It looked like nothing more than a clump of fur and claws, but a closer look shattered expectations. This was a mummified Arctic ground squirrel, curled up as if it had just fallen asleep yesterday. The discovery, made in Canada's Yukon Territory, revealed that this little survivor had been hibernating for over 30,000 years, except it never woke up. X-ray scans showed the squirrel had curled into a tight ball, just like its modern descendants do before winter sets in. But something went wrong. Perhaps an unexpected cold snap or a sudden collapse of its burrow, sealing it in permafrost and preserving it perfectly. What makes this find so remarkable is that it allows researchers to study not just bones, but the entire body, from its tiny claws to its delicate fur. It's a rare glimpse into the small daily lives of Ice Age creatures. Number 6. The 57,000-year-old wolf pup. Most prehistoric creatures are just bones and fossils, but in 2016, Canadian gold miners struck something much rarer, the perfectly frozen remains of a 57,000-year-old wolf pup. And this wasn't just any pup. Her fur, skin, paws, even her eyelashes were still intact. Nicknamed Jour, this little wolf was only 7 weeks old when she died. Scientists believe her den collapsed on her, trapping her in permafrost so quickly that her body was preserved better than most moms. When researchers scanned her body, they found no signs of disease, starvation, or injury. Just a pup frozen mid-childhood, forever locked in time. Unlike most Ice Age finds, Jour's discovery wasn't just about what she looked like. She was a genetic gold mine, giving scientists a direct link to Ice Age wolves and their evolution. If wolves from today met her, they'd recognize her as one of their own. Number 5. The Siberian Ice Maiden. In 1993, deep in the Altai Mountains of Siberia, archaeologists uncovered one of the most fascinating frozen discoveries ever, a 2,500-year-old woman perfectly preserved in permafrost. Nicknamed the Siberian Ice Maiden, she was no ordinary mummy. She was covered in intricate, swirling tattoos. Her burial chamber was filled with fine clothing, jewelry, and 6 sacrificed horses, and next to her body was a container of cannabis, suggesting she used it for spiritual or medicinal purposes. An MRI scan later revealed the Ice Maiden had breast cancer, leading scientists to believe that her people revered her as a healer or a shaman. Some locals, however, believe she was a cursed warrior priestess, and her removal from the ice brought misfortune to the region. In fact, after her excavation, earthquakes struck the Altai Mountains, fueling beliefs that her spirit was angry for being disturbed. Could her tattoos be symbols of lost knowledge? Was she a ruler, a healer, or something else entirely? Let us know. Number 4. The Yakutia Ice Bird. In 2020, Russian researchers stumbled upon something unusual in Siberian permafrost: the perfectly preserved body of a small Ice Age bird. Its feathers were still soft, its claws still curled, and if you didn't know any better, you'd think it had died yesterday. But carbon dating revealed the truth. This bird was 46,000 years old. Scientists identified it as a horned lark, a species that still exists today, though its Ice Age ancestors were slightly different. This bird had frozen mid-flight, caught in a sudden cold snap, and remained untouched for millennia. But the most fascinating part? The bird's DNA was so well preserved that researchers believed they could study its genetic differences from modern larks, and maybe piece together how birds evolved after the Ice Age. A prehistoric bird frozen in perfect condition? That's a once-in-a-lifetime find. Number 3. The Bolshoi Liakovsky musk ox. Not all animals found in ice are prehistoric. Sometimes nature freezes modern creatures just as brutally. In 2011, researchers flying over Alaska's Bering Land Bridge National Preserve made a chilling discovery: 32 musk oxen frozen solid in ice. These weren't ancient relics from the Ice Age. They were part of a living herd that had been wiped out overnight by a brutal winter storm. A tidal surge and flooding from the Chukchi Sea trapped them in freezing water, sealing their fate. Scientists used GPS collars to track some of the missing herd members, leading them directly to the icy graveyard. The Park Service later warned that scavengers, including bears and wolverines, might be drawn to the frozen carcasses. Nature can be cruel, even to creatures built for the cold. This mass die-off was a stark reminder of how unpredictable Arctic life can be. Number 2. The Yucca mammoth. Scientists have found plenty of frozen mammoths over the years, but Yucca, discovered in Siberia in 2010, is one of the strangest. Why? Because she wasn't just frozen, she was butchered. This 39,000-year-old mammoth was found with deep-cut marks on her flesh, evidence that humans had carved her up after death. Her body was still so intact that even her brain was preserved, making her one of the best-preserved mammoths ever found. The big question: did ancient humans hunt Yucca, or did they scavenge her body? Some researchers believe Yucca might have been trapped in ice after being injured, making her an easy target. Others suggest early humans had already figured out how to store meat in the ice, using Yucca as prehistoric refrigeration. Either way, Yucca's discovery rewrote what we knew about Ice Age humans and their relationship with mammoths. Number 1. Otzi the Iceman. Discovered in 1991 by hikers in the Ötztal Alps, Otzi the Iceman is one of the most famous frozen discoveries in history. This 5,300-year-old natural mummy was so well preserved that scientists could study his last meal, analyze his tattoos, and even reconstruct his face. But the biggest mystery? He was murdered. Otzi was found with an arrow lodged in his shoulder, deep cuts on his hands, and signs of a brutal struggle. His gear was also found neatly placed beside him, suggesting he was ambushed and killed. Even more shocking, his DNA revealed traces of blood from 4 different people on his belongings. Was Otzi a hunter who got caught in a deadly fight? Or was he a warrior, assassinated for reasons we'll never know? His body remains a frozen crime scene, locked in time. Scientists continue to study him, but one thing is clear: his story didn't end 5,300 years ago. Well, we really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in with us, and we'll see you soon in the next one.